Hey everyone, what's happening? And today I'm going to show you how to update the kernel inside of Linux Mint. Now when it comes to the kernel, my advice in most cases is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And what I mean by that is if your hardware all works, if your computer works just fine, you don't really need to touch the kernel. Now there are a few instances where I would say that advice doesn't apply, but in 90% of the cases, you don't really need to update your kernel. If your kernel needs updating for security patches, etc., your distribution usually pushes that security patch to your kernel. So, in other words, you really, in most cases, don't need to update your kernel. Now, there are some cases where I would say you should try updating your kernel first. Let's just say you buy a new piece of hardware that you want to plug into your computer and your computer doesn't recognize it. Well, the first thing I would say is update your kernel, because with newer hardware, you need newer device drivers, and you get your device drivers most times from the kernel. Another instance where I would say update your kernel would be if you need a specialized kernel, say a low latency kernel for production, or if you want it for gaming. I would say go ahead and update your kernel there. Now I'll go over low latency kernels and alternative kernels in another video. This will just be a straight update inside the Linux Mint system. So we're going to go ahead and jump over to the desktop and we're going to get into this. So here we are on my desktop. Now when it comes to updating the kernel, Linux Mint actually has the functionality built in. So we're going to go here to the launcher. We're going to go to administration. And then we're going to go to the update manager. So let's go ahead, let's find the system update manager right here. We're going to go ahead and open the update manager. Now it's going to go ahead and do an apt update, and now it says my system is up to date. Now we're going to go here to view right here and go down to Linux kernels. Now it's going to say warning, proceed with caution. Installing a Linux kernel can sometimes cause problems, especially if you're using proprietary drivers. These issues include no Wi-Fi, no video acceleration, blah blah blah. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. Now it's going to check the repos for kernel. Now it says I have kernel 5.30 installed, but it's been superseded by kernel 5.3042. Now this seems to be at the highest I can go. Now if I want to, like, say, downgrade my kernel to 4.18 or kernel 5.0, I could go ahead and hit this and hit install right here. And then I'm going to press yes. Now, this is going to install a kernel. Now, I'm going to go ahead and enter my password because it's going to need that. It's going to now install that kernel. So now that is done. That process took about 5 minutes. Now you would go ahead and reboot your system. I'm not going to reboot the system. However, if you install a newer kernel, it should automatically load your new kernel into it. Now, this can also, we're going to go ahead and continue. This can also remove kernels as well. Now, I would still keep your old kernel. I'd still keep your old kernel here that you had installed. That way, if something breaks, you can always load your old kernel back and you still have a working configuration. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove this kernel, and this is end of life, so we're just going to have to remove it. And we're going to go ahead and remove a kernel. And now it's going to ask for my password again, and now it's going to remove that kernel. Now we're going to cut this off again and wait for it to finish. Now removing that kernel is complete, so we're going to go back here and see that it was released from my, and now it's removed. I'm also going to remove this one eventually because this one's end of life as well. So we're going to go ahead and hit close on that. So that was updating your kernel in Linux Mint. Now these kernels that you can update inside the update menu are only the kernels that are supplied by the Linux team. These don't do specialized kernels like the low latency kernels, etc. These are just standard kernels that are packaged by the Linux team for Linux Mint. Also, yes, read through that full warning before updating and keep your old kernel around. At least until you know the new kernel works fine and all your hardware works fine off of it. And with that, I'm going to say have a nice one. If you like this video, go ahead and give it that thumbs up. If you didn't, that's what the thumbs down button is for. And go ahead and click that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video. If you like my content and wish to support my work, you can do so on Patreon. The link is in the description. Also, if you wish to see more, check out the videos on your screen.